Hello and welcome to Eyewitness Reports on Channels Television. I'm Yomi Otaigbe. On this week's edition of the program, two stories coming out of Taraba State. The first is an unpleasant one which has to do with the collapse of a building, leaving two people dead. The second story is a cheering one as displaced residents of community in Lao local government area are set to return after the state government waiting on an age-long dispute between two tribes. And in Edo State, members of exotic community halt movement and business activities as they take to the streets to protest eviction notice by the state government. The lives of two laborers at a construction site were cut short after a two-story building under construction in Jalingo, the Taraba state capital, caved in. The tragic incident has put relevant agencies and other stakeholders in the building industry on their toes to effectively regulate the activities of builders and estate developers in the state.
Rubble of bricks, concrete and wood lies scattered while onlookers watch with shock at the extent of destruction in the aftermath of a collapsed story building. Most of the residents who thronged the scene of the disaster suddenly become volunteer rescuers, helping in bringing out those trapped in the debris. With their hands, they comb through the dust, while the excavator, on the other hand, ensures that heavy impediments are out of the way. Somehow, somewhere, their efforts yield result. After several hours, one of the workers is rescued. Hours later, the body of one of the trapped laborers is pulled out.
When we had the distress call, we rapidly acted by sending our men to the sites, ensuring that evacuation has been done. And so far, our machine was here much earlier, and victims were evacuated. 2 were confirmed dead, and 3 were critically injured and were actually taken to the hospital, are currently receiving treatment.
Ibrahim Adamu, a carpenter, is fortunate to come out from the collapse unhurt.
We were walking here. Suddenly, this building caved in. It was late when we tried to escape. I managed to dig holes down there that enabled me to escape. It is a story building. I am just a carpenter. I do not know the kind of materials used to build.
Amidst the chaos, a resident laments what he thinks is the cause of the collapse. He alleges the use of inadequate and substandard building materials.
How can you use a very big machete project like this by using white chalk? And you are just, your intention we don't know. Whether you were trying to kill people, we don't know. You cannot use white chalk, use a machete project like this and use white chalk as your own column, which is not good. How about beam? Beam and the column, all is still using white chalk, which is not good. You're supposed to use white 16 for the column, and even you can use white chalk for the beam, no problem, because the column have already stand and stood in order to sustain the lifetime of the building. So we are not happy with this project, and now 3 people is still buried under the DC. No help, no nothing. Since in the morning, the building collapsed. These people are still under here.
The incident prompts an on-the-spot assessment by officials of the Standards Organization of Nigeria and some building professionals. They seek to know the cause of the collapse and the level of damage.
We have gone around to see the material that were used here, and as an organization, we cannot conclude by physical examination. So we still have to subject the material used here to further test to ascertain whether it meets the standard requirement or it does not. And another thing that we also need to consider is whether the size of iron rod used here we are supposed to be used in this project in the first place.
From sightseeing, we could understand that the quality, from the quality of materials and all the supervisors from the materials used on site, we can ascertain, even though we have not gone to detail, but by visual seeing of what is on site. Look at the materials on site, like the gravels. They are not the type of gravels that are supposed to use for story buildings like this. So with all this, I feel it is no longer business as usual. People that are engaged, whether the contractors, whether the owners of the building like this, should be punished for violating basic rules of construction. And I think many lives are lost, and this waste cannot be accounted for because it's in millions. So please, we are calling on the government agencies involved to sanction whoever is at fault in this instance.
The owner of the building may have some questions to answer regarding the allegations. However, according to the Standards Organization of Nigeria, it appears he has paid himself in his own coin.
Mr. Uche Obi, who I understand is the owner of this facility, took us to court last year, December, because some of our operatives from SON went to his facility where he sells products, because we got information that he's selling some substandard products. And then we sealed up his place, and then we started carrying out investigations about the products he's selling. You know, so the matter even came up today. That is why I came in from Abuja to Jalingo today. You can see I'm just coming from court. So that matter is ongoing. That matter is ongoing. I was surprised when they called me now to say this has happened. So I just said, well, I called my office.
Are you surprised that you are in court with him and establishing something like that?
Of course we are surprised. Because we sealed up his place. He was not supposed to do he even took us to court. He was not supposed to do anything until the matter in court is determined. That is the proper thing to do.
Meanwhile, the Taraba state government says it has ordered for the arrest of the owner of the building for contravening the state building laws.
The ministry is not actually aware. We had made effort to stop the building, haven't noticed that the owner has been at the site without our approval. We've not granted any approval to him. So as far as the ministry is concerned, this is an illegal structure. So measure to get him arrested is actually in place.
Despite the allegations leveled against him, the owner of the collapsed building, Mr. Uche Obi, maintains calmness and appeals for calm.
I still use this media to plead the people of Tarabians to calm themselves down. By special grace of God, police will investigate and get out the root of exactly what happened and what makes the warehouse to collapse. So everybody should remain calm, and police is on top of it and investigating exactly what happened.
According to him, the affected structure is a warehouse under construction. As a dealer in building materials, one wonders why Mr. Obi would choose to use substandard items for his own project.
I'm in Jalingo now 80 years. My aim and mission of being in Jalingo is to contribute for the development, contribute my quota for the development of the state. We are not here to make trouble. We are here to put our own quota in order the state to move forward. I'm a building materials dealer. I am also a developer. And in this entire my life, I never get a crop of such thing. Around past 8, the engineer called me that I should come. That they came to start the work, and they find out all the pillars inside the warehouse was watered. So when he called me on that, I went. I saw it. The pillars is watered. I get what I mean, and the building is watered. I doesn't know what to call it. But I asked him, can this thing stop you work? Because I did not ask anybody to come and water the pillars for me. He said, no problem. You cannot stop them anything. But it's good for me to see. I said, okay. Let them go ahead and doing their work. Then I proceed to the court. Not up to 1 hour, I begin to receive call where I was inside the court. And I cannot pick it until when we're through with the court. When I come outside, I now call the person that are calling me. He say, come over, that they are working. All of the sudden, the entire warehouse, the warehouse that carries 8 pillars, all of the sudden, everything just went down at a spot. I could not believe it until I rush on reaching there and now find out what they are saying is true. But what baffles me is that there was a group of people that blocked the entrance of the place, that nobody should enter there. Where the casting roof fall on top of people, and the people on ground shouting, asking for help, and the people run and rush to assist. Those boys block everywhere, that nobody should enter there. Even me myself, I went there, they chased me away. How can warehouse that has problem, what he has been doing to major road? And those group of people, what is their interest of blocking people and stop people to not go and rescue people? Even when I went and called excavator from those people that they are constructing road, I called excavator. Excavator around 1 o'clock. The Oyibo man carrying his excavator almost to the place. The place was blocked. And the man cannot be able to have access to go and rescue these people. Imagine something happened around 10. And before excavator will have his way to enter, it's around past 4. That is what baffles me. As if somebody is against me, fine, he have already executed their mission. What of the people, innocent people? That means I begin to see that there is a conspiracy. And that is where I begin to suspect that thing I saw in the morning that I thought that is water, is not water.
Mr. Obi, however, insists that he has all the approvals for the construction of the building, and they are with the site engineer who is currently in police custody. At the time of this report, the death toll from the collapse stands at 2, while the 3 injured people are receiving treatment at the hospital. The collapsed building have since been brought down after search and rescue operations were concluded.
Welcome back. After they were displaced for over 4 years, residents of communities in Lao local government area of Taraba State may start returning home. The state government is working to make it happen by brokering peace between Yangdang and Hausa Fulani tribes.
Since December 2017, the Yangdang and Hausa Fulani-speaking tribes in Lao local government area, a border community between Taraba and Adamawa states, have been at loggerheads, leading to the death and destruction of properties. It is a case of mutual suspicion and distrust over the crisis that emanated from Dong village in Bidoma development area of Demsa local council in Adamawa state, which escalated into their domains in Lao local government area of Taraba State.
The situation is very bad indeed. Many people have lost their life and their properties have been destroyed. We are back in all aspects, financially, even academically, educationally. All of these we have missed them within this period of the crisis. But the grassroots of this destruction is not from Taraba or Lao. Is from Adamawa State.
Before, the situation was very bad. Initially, all of us are not meeting in the same point. We don't go together, we don't have any relationship.
Due to the unending nature of the crisis, some well-meaning individuals within the affected communities initiated a peace and reconciliation process to end the unhealthy relationship between the two warring ethnic groups who've coexisted for more than 10 decades.
Targeted killing must stop. Anyone found to be responsible for such an act, that person should face the full wrath of the law of the land so that reprisal attack could be avoided. Communities that have problems with cattle routes should create passages to pastures and water points to avoid confrontation. There is no night grazing. That is what the committee came out with. No night grazing, or there is no night migration. All strangers should be told this rule on arrival. Most of our social problems are associated with drug abuse. Every community should find out the sources of drug supply and stop it, or report the matter to the authorities around. Destruction of farms by cattle. If the destruction is not intentional, the farmer must adopt the age-long method of settlement. That is what we have been doing before this time. But if it is intentional, no farmer should take the law into his hands, but legal process is preferable.
With the return of peace to the area and the signing of a peace accord by the affected ethnic groups, the state government appeals to all displaced residents to return.
Those that were displaced and are called IDPs should go back to their settlement. And he has also planned to resettle these displaced people by building some of the houses that are affordable for them. Whoever is displaced and is staying somewhere because of insecurity, that security has come to stay, they should all come back to their areas of abode and stay peaceful with each other and live as it was before.
The resolutions reached here is expected to be transmitted to the state government for implementation, as residents appeal to the National Emergency Management Agency and non-governmental organizations to support the displaced persons in rebuilding their lives.
Property owners in Ezoti community, including Ogbe quarters in Oredo local government area of Edo State, took to the streets in Benin City, the state capital, to protest against eviction notice served by the Edo State government. The protesters insist that they will never vacate their ancestral land, which according to them has been in existence for over 600 years.
Protest by residents of Ezoti community results in traffic obstruction along Airport Road in Benin City, the Edo State capital. The protest is against an eviction notice served to them by the Edo State government through the Edo Geographic Information System Office. The aggrieved residents expressed their feelings through songs and messages boldly inscribed on their placards. They insist that they are aware of the state government's plans to develop the state, but will not sacrifice their ancestral land.
We have been existing in this community before the government. At least our Nigerian government is not up to 600 years. We have been living in this place for the past 600 years. We have served different Oba, and we have traditional rights that we do give to our Oba. So for somebody to just wake up and tell us we want to use our homes, we said no. And we are a total no. Everybody is saying no to what he's proposing. If he wants development, we are not against development. There are areas that he will open up. ITV open up Igosa, where people now start rushing to that side. Somebody open up Kobahi, where people now start rushing to that side. We are not against development, but not moving us. The town is already crowded, and you are saying you have overriding interest that you want to put here. You want to jump out the city. It should go to a rural area and open up those areas.
This octogenarian may not have the strength to join others on a street march, but he insists that it's part of the protest.
I've been here. I was born 1936. I've never seen such in my life. One, I'm now 86 years. I don't know why Obaseki government said that we don't want us here. I've been here for 86 years now. So I don't know why. So we all make, the whole landlord, we contribute our money to carry people to demonstrate around the whole Benin. We don't know why he wants us to come out here. Even himself, he's a young man to me. I'm now 86 years. He's not up to 86 years. What he know about this, our land, we don't know.
The managing director of Edo State Geographical Information Service, Frank Ebuowan, who declined to speak on camera, explained that the areas in question has been mapped for the proposed Edo Museum of West African Arts. The protesters eventually dispersed. They believe that their stance is clear to the Edo State government. They are not ready to vacate their properties.
Before we go, let me remind you that you have a role to play in the development of your community or neighborhood. That opportunity exists here on Eyewitness Report. Just take pictures of developments around you, be it infrastructure decay or abandoned projects. It could also be the delivery of projects that have enhanced the living condition in your community. Upload them on our Eyewitness portal on the Channels TV app, which you can download from the various app stores online. We've put together pictures and videos sent in by our Eyewitness reporters.
Our non-government invented a local government and wants it down.
This segment of the program begins with a video of a fire raising offices at the Secretariat of Osu local government area of Imo State. According to the Eyewitness, the offices were set on fire by gunmen who invaded the premises in the early hours of Sunday, April 3. The source says several buildings within the premises that were touched include the chairman's office, the administrative block, and some vehicles parked within the premises. The next pictures from an eyewitness in Yobe State captures the aftermath of a road accident, a head-to-head collision between a Honda Civic car and an 18-seater Hummer bus along Potiskum Gashua Road. The reporter says 6 people died in the process, while others sustained various degrees of injury. The Zonal Commanding Officer, Federal Road Safety Corps, Assistant Corps Marshal Rotimi Adeleye, has confirmed to Channels Television that the accident happened as a result of tire burst from one of the cars. Lastly, from Lagos comes this video of a thick smoke coming out from a Nitel building on Admiralty Way, Lekki Phase 1. It has been confirmed that first respondents arrived on time to contain the fire before it spread.
Thanks for sending those images. That's it on this edition of the program. See you again next week. I am Yomi Otaigwe.